Welcome to Featured Works at the Tweed Museum of Art. My name is Bill Shipley, museum educator, and today I talk about the work of a contemporary of mine, the artist Sylvia Schuster, who divides time between Iowa City, where I first met her, at the University of Iowa, and New York City, and Washington, D.C. Sylvia is an artist who I first met when we were students at the School of Fine Art at the University of Iowa, and she was working in a very prestigious print studio, one of the great university print departments of Mauricio Lasansky. Sylvia was part of that almost a renaissance in printmaking in the 1950s and 60s. We're looking at two collage pieces today. One is more of an ink drawing with collage, and the other is torn pasted paper collage. This is a piece actually that I own. It's from my personal collection. The other one is from the Tweed collection, from a show Sylvia had here a few years ago. Sylvia has settled on this format, the vertical format for her work, drawing from the figure. There are 35 years separating these two works of art. I think it's instructive to see an earlier work with some collage, but the collage has really taken over that method of construction, that method of composition in the 2005 work. This work I'm dating from around 1970 when I first saw it. Sylvia actually knew this model. I always thought it was a male, but she said no, it was a woman who was quite good friends with Sylvia. So we can almost date it by that association she had with the model. Sylvia worked for quite a few years in New York in the studio of the New York Studio School with Mercedes Matter, a very famous figurative art school in the Village in New York City. We're going to pause for a minute and take a closer look at the two works. One of the interesting things about Sylvia's method of working, especially in the later piece, is the gesture of tearing paper and pasting paper. Sylvia made a series of drawings of the subway tracks in New York City when she lived there. And almost as a way of recycling the work, she decided to tear and paste work to build a series of heads. These are all based on a frontal figure of a head, but there's a cubist dimension to the work as well, and also an abstract expressionist quality in the almost somewhat accidental placement and somewhat relying on a very intuitive method of working, adding, subtracting. It's a work that has a very strong architectural quality as well. And I even see a sense of landscape in the work. So Sylvia's work is open to these interpretations. Always has a powerful emotional quality as well in her work. She's drawing on a good deal of expressionist, even German expressionist art. Now we'll take a look at the earlier collage. Sylvia was also a student of a very influential instructor at the University of Iowa, a painter named James Lachey, who really taught his students the importance of a very simple gestural drawing, a drawing that has a line quality that carries with it a good deal of emotion. And I see some of Lachey's influence in this work. I knew James Lachey and knew his work quite well. He was another artist who showed in New York City. I should mention that Sylvia's, most of her work in her career has been printmaking. Everything she has done pushes paper to its limits, pushes the power of ink on paper to its ultimate reality. Thank you, and join us again for another featured works presentation at the Tweed Museum of Art.